So now that we've got identity configured, let's go ahead and add a new migration. And what we'll need to do is go back to our API server. We're going to need to stop it. And let's just clear the screen. And we'll add a new migration. And let's say .NET EF migrations add. And then we'll just say identity added. And press return. And we get a warning here saying that an operation was scaffolded that may result in a loss of data. We've removed the column basically. We've removed the password salt. And of course, when we remove that column, then the data that goes along with it is lost. So that's fine, but let's go and take a look at this migration because this probably won't be usable with SQLite. And let's go take a look. Now, if we take a look, what we have here is drop foreign key operations. Drop primary key, drop column, rename table, alter column, add column, add column, add column, blah, blah, blah. But when we use SQLite, and it is a brilliant thing to use in development, I've said it before, but when we use SQLite, it does come with some limitations. And if we go and take a look at the documentation for this, see what we're allowed, see what's not allowed, and let's go take a look. And we've got our SQLite EF Core database provider limitations. We've got some query limitations, that's fine. We're not using datetime offset, we're not using decimal. And if we go down again, we've got our migrations limitations. Now, this is interesting because my initial lesson said that we cannot use our existing migrations and then put this one on top. Because none of these operations used to be supported. We would never be allowed to add a foreign key. We would never be allowed to alter a column. We wouldn't be allowed to drop a foreign key. All of these things were not supported. But if we take a look at the requires version, then it says 5, 5, 5 for all of these different operations. And this means we can give it a go. I'm not sure if this is going to work because I have not actually tested this. My intention was to show you the reasons that you can't use this as your migration and you would have to delete your previous migrations and start again, which is fine, by the way. But let's go and see if this actually works. And what I'm going to do, I'm going to say I'm okay with this because we know we're deleting the password salt column. And before we can start our database to see if this has actually worked, let's go across to the program.cs class. And what we're going to do for now, because we haven't modified the seed class, which we're going to look at next, we're going to see if we can get ASP.NET Core to create our database. So let's open up the console and we'll just do a .NET. I'm just going to do a .NET run in this case because I know I'm going to need to stop this in the near future. And what it looks like has happened, it actually looks like this has worked. We can see all of the alter table operations and we can see everything going on here. And this actually looks good. There's no errors that I can see. So if you're not using .NET 5, then this will not work for you, and your solution for getting around that problem is taking your migrations folder, right-clicking and deleting. And then you would just create a new migration based on all of the code that we've written so far, and that is fine as well. It's not a big deal what we've just done here. It's good because now we don't need to actually drop our database. And let's go take a look at our database now. So we use SQLite Open Database and we'll select datingapp.db and let's take a look. So now we can see all of our different tables inside here. And let's take a look at the ASP.NET users and bring this across inside here and see what we can see. So we've got access failed count, etc. We do have an ID. It's come in alphabetical order on this occasion, which is interesting. And then we've got a city, country, and we've got all of our user information. And this actually looks okay. That's kind of interesting. And then we've got our password hash, etc. What we'll still need to do though is, so that we're going to be working with clean data, is we are going to drop the data and then reseed our users, because these password hashes are not going to be valid for identity. These are the ones from our custom authentication. So I was curious to see if that would actually work, and it has done. But we're still going to need to drop our data and then reseed data into it so that our users are created with identity passwords. And Before we go and correct that, let's just take a look at the other tables that were created for us by identity. And we've got a ASPNET role claims table, a roles table, a user claims table, user logins, user roles, user tokens, and users. And that's what we get from identity. What we're going to take a look at next, because we do need to seed new data into this, because as I mentioned, nothing in this column is going to work for us. So what we're going to do next is we're going to drop our database, and this is one of the reasons for creating seed data in the first place, so that even if you do drop your database and restart it, then you're going to have all of your users back, apart from the ones that we created for testing purposes. And we'll take a look at that next.